Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here while I share a few lessons that I learned while I was at Wanderlust in Stratton this past June. Before I forget, be sure you subscribe before you leave and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I attended Wanderlust, which was a 4-day yoga festival. It was yoga and music, mindfulness, meditation, general outdoors, relaxing, recharging, that kind of thing. But I do believe they market themselves as a yoga festival. It took place in Stratton, Vermont at the Stratton Mountain Resort, which was amazing. It's a ski resort. There was a whole village full of shops and restaurants, tons of lodging, different types of lodging. I purchased a premium ticket for the event. So I had an extra day on Thursday where I had an immersion that was focused on meditation, which was amazing. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And the lodging was amazing because I had an entire condo all to myself. But it was a great experience. They had amazing vendors there. I'm going to talk about a couple of them. And the people were so cool. The atmosphere was amazing. And I really loved it, and I really encourage you, if you have the time and means, to try to attend either one of the festivals, or they have a 108 event that they call a mindful triathlon, which is 5K, yoga, and meditation, I believe. And that was actually the first Wanderlust event that I attended. It was on Belle Isle in Detroit last year, I believe in October, and it was super cool. And I liked the way that they organized the event. I liked the people who were working the event. I liked the people who attended the event, which is what prompted me to go ahead and sign up for one of the festivals. So if you did not get a chance to check out my recap video that I did that showed some of the scenery, some of the musical acts, a couple of the activities and events, I will link a card somewhere above so you can click on it and check it out. And with that, let's get started talking about a couple of the things that I learned while I was there. One thing to know about me is that I am not a yogi. I don't go to yoga on a regular basis. I don't have a regular yoga practice, which was a little bizarre for me going to a yoga festival, but it turned out amazing. So my first point is, life is amazing when you realize that no one is watching you. And the reason and how I learned this and why I think it's important to share with you is that the first yoga class I took there, I believe it was on Friday, I took a Tom Petty yoga class, and it was on International Yoga Day, which was so cool. But let me tell you, when I go to a yoga class, I am in the back of the class. I walk in and I'm like, where's the back? Just tell me, because I don't want to get in the way of the people who know what they're doing. I know down dog and corpse pose, and that's all I need in my life. But I don't really remember how it happened, but I wound up actually more toward the front and on the side for this class. So I was super self-conscious because I had to watch what everyone else was doing to know what to do. And as it turns out, no one was actually watching what I was doing. And I even talked to the people around me. They were super cool. No one was judgmental. They just took you as you were. If you're a beginner, if you've never even done yoga, then that was cool. You just went with it and no one cared. There were several parts of that class where we had to hold on to a partner, which made me a little bit self-conscious, but it was amazing. My partners were great, and again, nobody judged anyone, and no one was even watching me, and I had the best time. One thing I will say about the Wanderlust Festival, though, is that does kind of ruin yoga for you because they have the best instructors there. But the other thing that made me realize that life is amazing when no one is watching is that they had a silent disco, which is where there's a short scene in my video with this, but it's where everyone has headphones on and we're all dancing. And there's 3 different DJs who are DJing the event, essentially kind of competing for everyone to listen to them. So the color on your headphone showed which DJ you were listening to. And it was also just so cool because the person who was dancing next to you probably wasn't even listening to the same music that you were. And again, nobody cared. I'm a terrible dancer, but it was amazingly fun. And it was such a cool experience. And if you ever have the opportunity to go to one of DJ Taz Rashid's classes, we actually just went to one in Columbus, Ohio last weekend. So cool. Also with the headphones, such an amazing experience. He is a yogi, does an amazing job with his music, making sure that it matches with the event, that kind of thing, or with the, I guess I should say, the choreography of the yoga class. And actually I'll see him again in a couple weeks at Barefoot and Free in Michigan. If anyone's going to that, let me know. So the second thing that I will say that I learned is that sisterhood is everything. And the reason that I say this, of course, this is like a female dominated event. However, there were a good number of men there. But for the most part, I hung out with other women, and I had gone with a preconceived notion that I may not be accepted by the people there because I'm not a yogi and I don't look like everyone else there, which we're going to be talking about in a later video. But I was a little bit nervous about not being able to fit in because of my lack of yoga experience and never attending a Wanderlust festival before, things of that sort. I met so many people that I now call friends, and it was so cool. There was someone from Soul Camp that I had connected with, who I hung out with throughout the event. We met someone else another night, and there were two women from New York that I met, who I'm actually going to see in a couple weeks, hopefully when I head out there over Labor Day weekend. And I will say that that made the experience for me. I love to be by myself, and I'm completely fine being by myself, hence traveling there by myself. But it really made the event. And not only that, the vendors who they brought in, I will say that some people who do, like, are true yogis, like they love yoga, they don't actually support the Wanderlust events because they do have things like vendors there. But I will tell you, it's not like Tupperware and people like that. It's people who are actually like making the goods that they're selling. You're actually supporting this human that you're talking to while you're there, which I think is super cool. So the very first person I met, her name is Ashley from Fierce Forward. She made a couple pieces that I'm wearing right now, actually both this angel aura quartz necklace and this bracelet, which I will ideally be taking pictures of and editing this film to show you. But she has an amazing company, like I mentioned, called Fierce Forward, that helps women to focus on always moving forward, focusing on your intentions. Obviously, I'm a fan of that. So big shout out to her. Find her on Facebook and Instagram. She also has a super cool Facebook group called the Fierce Girl Gang. Check it out. It's all women supporting each other. It's a super cool environment. But I'm so happy I met her. Another soul sister that I met along the way, and we're still in touch. And I think it's just an amazing, amazing way to connect at an event like that. The third learning that I have to share with you is take what you need and leave what you don't. And I love this. This applies to all aspects of our life. If someone is talking about something that doesn't suit you, that you don't agree with, that you just don't need for whatever reason, just leave it. You don't need it. But when someone's talking about, or you're in the process of learning something that you do need, take what you need, leave what you don't. And I find that to be especially true when you go to events like this, because there are a lot of choices what you can do for each session. And I find that to be especially true with this kind of event, because there are so many choices that you have for each session. And as an example, one of the sessions that I took, or one of the sessions that I attended, was a Katona body reading class. I think I'm saying that right. But she essentially took someone from the group that attended and kind of like read like the arches of her feet and like different things about her posture. She could tell things about her past based on that. It just wasn't really my jam. It was cool. I'm so glad that I went to it because it all contributed to the overall experience I had at Wanderlust, which was amazing. But that just wasn't for me. And something that came up in that class that has crossed my mind many times since then is the contradictions that we hear in life. Something that she said was that nobody needs to open anything up. In this instance, she was talking about hips, and if you go to a yoga class or work with a trainer or anything, or even if you have some kind of spiritual practice where people talk about needing to open up your heart, her opinion is that you just need to strengthen it to the point where it supports you, but you don't need to open anything up, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, things like that. But it was just interesting to take into consideration how many contradictions there are, because people had conversations about how some of the instructors at Wanderlust, when talking about yoga, said never use a block, never use a strap, but you can go home and your favorite yoga instructor always uses a strap to help you adjust. Take what you need, leave what you don't. If the strap in your yoga class at home never quite felt right, and now you're with a different yoga instructor saying you never need them, you know, think about it. Maybe that's just something that you need, but someone else's opinion is something that you don't need, so you're not going to take it. But if you do attend a yoga class and you always use a block, and then you have someone at Wanderlust telling you that you never need to use a block, leave it then. You don't need it. Number 4 is to let go of expectations. Attending this festival by myself for the first time, like I read articles, I watched YouTube videos, I read like the entire Wanderlust website, like every article that anyone had ever written related to Wanderlust, I read it all in preparation. None of it actually was anything that I ultimately needed, though I don't regret doing that research. But you know, I had the expectation, 1, that I wasn't going to fit in, 2, specifically about the immersion that I took on Thursday, knowing that it was focused on meditation. I kind of felt like Thursday may actually be a waste of my time. However, it was one of the most transformative experiences I've had at this kind of retreat or festival, because I was able to learn a meditation, I guess, format or philosophy that truly worked for me. So that in and of itself was worth everything. And like I mentioned before, I went with the expectation that I wasn't going to fit in. And I left with a handful of amazing new friends that I'm still in touch with, that I still talk to frequently, which is so cool. And I'm just glad that is an unexpected thing that I got from this festival It's interesting. I'll say that I had no expectations for it, but obviously I had a lot of expectations for it if I was reading articles and trying to figure out what to expect. Number 5 is your true north does not look like anyone else's. And the reason that I bring this up is that Wanderlust's, I guess their kind of motto is find your true north, which I love that, because I like that it's individualized and it's find your true north. And mine didn't look like anyone else's there. If the people that I met there are an accurate representation of the typical people who attend Wanderlust, then 75 to 80% of the people who attend it are already certified yoga instructors, which is cool. I loved all of them. But their true north looked entirely different than mine. They were getting new teaching techniques and things to talk about in their classes and things like that. I was enjoying the music, being in nature, unplugging, recharging, just connecting with different people, connecting with myself again. And that was amazing. So my experience was entirely different than everyone else's. I actually even heard people say in that Tom Petty yoga class that it was their 4th yoga class of the day. And I was like, there's so much to experience here. And you're doing yoga all day, which is at the end of the day, amazing that that's what they get to do because it's what they want to do. I didn't want to do yoga all day, so I didn't have to do yoga all day. I did Thai massage and body reading, you know, and then I went for a hike and took the gondola to the top of the mountain. And so I think it's really amazing that you have the ability to focus on whatever suits and serves you. And number 6 is that everything is a balance. I watched people doing back bends and inversions, and of course that is all about balance, but everything is. Going to a yoga festival for me was a balance of doing yoga and attending the classes that I wanted to, and not doing yoga and doing other things that I already knew that I enjoyed. But the balance for me was trying new things and doing things that I knew that I would enjoy. And of course, this is true in all aspects of our lives. Everything is a balance, and actually you will see a new video from me on that shortly. And the last learning that I have that I want to share with you is something that I learned from the meditation instructor. I will make sure that I link her website or put some information about her, somewhere on the screen somewhere. It's the Ziva Institute in New York, which I'm actually been thinking about going to do one of her weekend, or maybe it's like a 4-day immersion, because her meditation practice did speak so strongly to me. Anyway, one of the things that she said is, if you know where your next meal is coming from and where you're sleeping tonight, you are rich. And I love that. I think that really helps to keep things in perspective, especially when you're starting to lose sight of everything that it is that you have that makes your life so full and rich. That's always a good thing to remember. So with that, I'm going to end the video, and my next video is actually going to relate a little bit to the 7th tip that I just shared with you. So thank you again for your time. Let me know what you thought of this new filming space. I see that I have a shadow in the background, which is a little bit annoying. Hopefully it's not when you watch the video. I wanted to do something just a little bit different. But thank you again for your time. Thank you for watching. I love that you chose to spend your time with me today, and I cannot wait to see you again. Thank you.